Welcome, true crime lovers. This is Underage and Full of Rage. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Underage and Full of Rage, the podcast where the convicted are minors and their crimes are anything but. I am your host, Becky, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Adam.
Hello.
So today, our story takes place in Fishtown, PA, that's Pennsylvania, which is a neighborhood located just northeast of central Philly. So obviously, since it's in Philadelphia, I don't think I have to go into the setting too much. Were you comfortable and confident with Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So again, I think it's pretty explanatory. I will say, though, that back in 2003, when our story takes place, it was said that Fishtown was mostly a working class, tight-knit neighborhood consisting of residents who were predominantly of Irish and Polish descent. Now, from what I have gathered, it does seem as though some gentrification has been occurring in more recent years, so I'm not too sure how much of that old Fishtown vibe and community is still intact. But I do know that back in 2003, it was a typical blue-collar town with the true sense of community. Like
old school community where you actually liked and respected and knew your neighbors and
yeah, and everyone looked out for each other. Yeah. Simpler times.
Those good old days.
Exactly.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. So among the Fishtown residents is the Sweeney family. Dawn, a bank teller, and Paul, who ran a small construction company, lived in Fishtown with their two children, 16-year-old Jason and 15-year-old Melissa. Jason Sweeney was described as a kind kid with a gentle soul who was known for sticking up for the little guy and had no problem intervening if he saw another being bullied. Stand up. More people should do that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck bullies.
Look, old school community.
Yeah. Jason was well liked by everyone and had several groups of friends. Amongst these friends was one that was, pretty much a staple in Jason's life and at the Sweeney's home often. So, we all have either been that friend or had that friend that's just always lingering or we're the lingerer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this kid was Edward Eddie Bassig Jr. He was also 16. He was Jason's best friend, and the two met in elementary school, and they were said to be pretty much inseparable. They were together so much that they would go on each other's family vacations. Eddie went to Florida with Jason to go visit his grandparents, and Jason would go with Eddie and his family to the shore. Again, I feel like we've all had at least one friend like that.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And if not, that's sad. I feel bad for people who don't have friends.
Yeah, it's got to be rough.
Yeah. Everybody needs, what does he say? Everybody, this is why you need a sidekick. Everyone needs a sidekick.
Yeah.
So two other boys that lived in Fishtown were the Koya brothers, Dominic, 17, and Nicholas, 16, who also grew up with Eddie and Jason. But it was said that the two were more like acquaintances of Jason's because even though he knew the brothers since elementary school as well, it was stated that the brothers tended to be off by themselves more than they were really involved socially with others. So they just kind of kept to themselves, but obviously they knew who each other was. And there was no beef or anything. But by the time the four boys reached high school, there was a shift in the friendships. Eddie began getting into trouble more, and as he started, down this path, his friendship with Jason became a little distant, while his friendship with the Koya brothers kind of grew closer. The Koya brothers and Eddie were more into the party scene, whereas Jason was focusing on his future. Jason had a path carved out for himself, and nothing was going to make him deviate from that. So Jason chose to drop out of school in the 10th grade because he knew school just wasn't for him. However, he did start working for his dad's construction company and was essentially waiting for his 17th birthday to come so he could enlist in the Navy. Jason's dream and goal in life was to become a Navy SEAL, and he knew what he needed to do to make that happen. At 16, Jason knew doing drugs and getting into trouble with the law wasn't the way to make this dream a reality, so he stayed focused on his goal and stayed away from that lifestyle, no matter how hard the people around him tried to influence him. After dropping out of school, he found himself hanging out with Eddie and the Koya brothers more and more, and while he continued to work towards his future, they continued to dive deeper into their drug use. At one point, Dawn told Jason that she was concerned about the path Eddie was going down and suggested that Jason end the friendship. But Jason felt that maybe he could be a good influence on Eddie. And if only, Jason had taken his mom's advice, we may have been telling a very different story today. So, on May 31st, 2003, police get a call about a badly beaten body. The conditions the body was left in made it impossible for police to tell how old the victim was. The only thing they could tell was that it was the body of a male. They tried running fingerprints and DNA on the unidentified victim, but nothing had come up. So as of now, it looked like they, just had a John Doe on their hands. Now, about a week prior to this body being discovered, Eddie and the Coya brothers introduced their friend Jason to their other friend, 15-year-old Justina Morley. Justina was rough around the edges, to say the least, and even though she too was on a bad path of drug use and partying, Jason took a strong liking to her almost instantaneously. Before the week was out, he was calling her his girlfriend and making plans to introduce her to his family at his sister's birthday party on the upcoming Saturday, which would be May 31st. Which I think it's funny because I'm like, just remembering when you're like 15 or 16 and like how quickly kids get just like love stricken.
Yeah.
Like it's all or nothing. It's so funny how like when you're young too, it's like everything's like the end of the world and.
Yeah, there's no tomorrow for anything.
Yeah, you're so short-sighted.
Crazy.
And then when you get older, you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Well, then you get older and you go, oh fuck, there are like long-term things.
It's crazy. It's how it just shifts. It's so insane. So sadly, Jason would never make it to the birthday party. In fact, the last anyone had seen Jason was the day before on May 30th. It was a Friday, which also meant it was payday for the 16-year-old. And after getting home from work, he showered, put on a change of clothes.
16-year-olds know what payday is now from an actual job.
Probably a small amount. I feel like kids don't like get jobs anymore. I feel like they do other stuff.
Get jobs. Come on.
Well, if there's jobs available, that's the other part too.
That's true.
It's hard. Because I don't know. I feel like the job market these days is not what it was when we were younger.
No, it's not. Like I worked at 7-Eleven.
I worked at the bakery.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I loved it.
Bakery was pretty badass too.
All day.
We decorated cookies.
And I got to hang out with like people I liked. It was awesome.
Well, it's funny because I always would tell people when like they'd be I'm like, I don't even understand why minors are working on the books. Like when I was younger, you were a minor, you worked off the books so that way you got all your money. That's why I worked in bakeries because we were off the books. We got paid cash and that was that. I'm like, why would a minor even waste their time going and getting like taxes taken out? Because I'm like at the end of like your.
You're getting paid too, like $4 an hour at that time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Well, like, and if with taxes and stuff, after taxes, you're making like $10 a week. Like that way, you just.
I made 15.
Because I had no taxes taken out. That's why you get more of your money. It just made sense as a minor.
It is true.
So I'm like,
it is true.
When we moved, I found it weird. And I was like, whoa, minors work on the books? I didn't think that was a thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I just assumed everybody worked off the books.
Because like all the like pizzerias and shit and
off the books.
Like all the fucking Chinese restaurants.
Yeah.
Like
right?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
We totally got sidetracked. So, getting back to Friday and payday for the 16-year-old, he had showered, he put on a change of clothes, and with $500 in his pocket, he left the Sweeney household to go meet Justina at an area known to the locals called The Trails. So, when Jason gets there, he thinks it's just Justina and him, when out of nowhere, Eddie ambushes him and strikes him in the head with a hatchet. Before Jason can even process what has just happened to him, both Nicholas and Dominic join Eddie in the attack. Nicholas hits Jason with a rock while Dominic relentlessly beats him in the head with a hammer. The three boys keep hitting Jason while he is begging them to stop and pleading for his life. At one point, Jason attempted to run, but Dominic jumped on him, pushing him back down to the ground so the beating could continue. The whole time this is happening, Justina, who was complicit in the attack, was just standing off to the side, watching and waiting for it to be over. Eddie, Nicholas, and Dominic beat Jason about the face and head until he was dead. An autopsy revealed that the boys beat him so badly that one bone was broken in his face. That escalated quickly.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's savage.
Those are supposed to be your friends, too. Like, your good friends. Like, your best friends. That you've known since elementary school. Elementary school. Think of the one person that you've known since elementary school doing this to you.
I could never imagine that.
No.
I could never imagine doing that to anybody
that you called like a really good friend. Yeah.
That's wild.
Crazy. And it's worse because we just went off on that tangent about payday and then it instantly jumped into that. I didn't realize this was so soon.
Oh, yeah, that's a good, yeah.
That's why I'm like, that escalated very quickly.
0 to 1,000.
But is that not just like an insane, like the vision of that is just so
That's fucking bonkers.
Chaotic. So after the three were done savagely killing their friend, that they, again, have known since elementary school. I can't stress that enough. I think that's wild. You've known somebody pretty much your whole life. Your whole life. You're 16. You've known them your whole life, and you do that.
That's crazy.
It blows my mind. They immediately started going through his pockets. It just gets worse. What they made off with was some gum, some coins, and the $500 Jason had just been paid for his construction work. Once they took what they wanted from Jason, all of them, Justina included, came together and celebrated their victory by engaging in a nice big group hug with one another. Mind you, while this is taking place, the brutally beaten body of a kid they used to call a friend laid on the ground right beside them.
You're just evil, man.
Like,
that's just evil.
This is truly one of those where there's no words.
You're just evil.
Pure evil. Again, no words. I have no words for that. Like, how savage. And you're only 16. Like, that's crazy to me when, like, people that young are just that cold-hearted and so, but calculated. Like, you know?
Yeah, you gotta be calculated to pull that type of thing off. And, yeah, that's just fucking horrible. Wow.
So as the group of teens celebrated is the word, which is even more demented. So as the group of teens left the scene, they started disposing of evidence that could link them to the murder. They quickly got rid of Dominic's shirt because it had blood on it, as well as throwing the hatchet, the hammer, and Jason's wallet down the sewer. They then showered, split the money, and proceeded to buy a shit ton of drugs and booze, and in the words of Dominic Koya, they partied beyond redemption. While they were getting fucked up, they were celebrating and toasting to what they had just done. So, like, no remorse, no nothing. You can't tell me even that you didn't know what you were doing, or you weren't sure what you were getting into, or we weren't in our right mind. Like, you can't, there's no excuse for any of this. Like, you deliberately murdered your friend, robbed him, and then joyously celebrated that you, like, successfully did all that.
Like, you do know $500 isn't gonna put you on the run forever, and, like...
They had no plans to run.
They
only had plans to party. They literally spent all the money on booze and drugs.
It's just crazy.
That's all they wanted.
You couldn't have just stolen all that shit? You couldn't have just stolen all of that stuff?
They could have stolen other stuff and gotten money for it. It's 2003.
Well, I'm saying you couldn't have just stolen the booze?
Probably
couldn't have
not.
robbed a fucking drug dealer?
Well, I don't know what it's like in Pennsylvania. Because, like, I mean, if you're going into a grocery store, you probably still booze, but you're not getting into a liquor store at 16.
Is that what they have in?
I don't know what Pennsylvania. That's what I'm saying. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like New York. Like you're not walking into a liquor store at 16 to steal anything. You're not getting, and you're not stealing drugs.
But you can steal beer from like.
Well, I don't. That's what I'm saying. They might have it where beer's
I see what
not
you're
sold
saying.
in grocery
I see what you're
stores, and
saying.
it's in strictly like.
Blue laws, you dickhead. I got
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know the setup in Pennsylvania, but regardless, that would I feel like in their brains it was easier to murder their friend and get money.
To be young and dumb.
Very dumb.
Very fucking dumb.
I don't even know. Is this dumb or is it just like?
No, I think it's just evil.
Just like shitheadery.
You're just a garbage person. Or garbage peoples.
Garbage people. Yeah, I guess garbage peoples. So meanwhile, at the Sweeney's house, Dawn and Paul were surprised that Jason hadn't returned home that Friday night. And they first chalked it up to him being 16 and, testing the boundaries a little. But by late afternoon on Saturday, his sister Melissa reached out to him a few times and left him messages telling him how their parents are, starting to worry about him. But obviously she wasn't getting responses. So Paul and Dawn spent the weekend calling around to his friends, asking if anyone had seen Jason, but unfortunately no one had, or at least they were claiming they hadn't. Not sure which of his friends they had contacted, but I would think if those were the kids he was hanging out with most recently, whether you like them or not, you're probably going to contact them.
Yeah, either way you're going to because you're concerned.
I didn't see anything that they were directly contacted and directly said no, we hadn't seen anything, or heard anything.
Yeah.
But I can only assume. But by the third day of hearing nothing from Jason, the parents called the police and reported him missing. When the police came to take the report, Dawn started describing to the officers the clothing Jason was, last seen in. And as she is explaining this to the officer, his face goes white. And he begins to tell Dawn how they have an unidentified body that matches that description. So Paul and Dawn go to see if the unidentified body the police have is in fact Jason, and obviously they are hoping it's not. So when they get there, the face of the individual is unrecognizable due to the amount of injuries he sustained. But when Jason's parents noticed the scar from a recent cut on the palm of the body, in addition to the St. Jude necklace around the neck, they knew, it's so terrible, that they were looking at their son. And the John Doe found on May 31st, 2003 was finally identified as 16-year-old Jason Sweeney. Cops immediately jump into action. They begin diving into Jason's background and friend groups, and they have Paul and Dawn write up a list of people that Jason was known to be involved with. On this list is the name of, or I guess are the names, that's improper English, are the names of Eddie Baswig Jr. as well as Nicholas and Dominic Koya. Investigators bring the three boys in for questioning, where each of them tell a similar story that consisted of a party on May 30th, but Jason never showed. The investigators also discover that the last known person with Jason on that Friday was Justina Morley. So they bring her in for questioning too. And when they do, she started with the same story as the three boys. There was a party, but Jason never showed. But she quickly cracked and told them what really happened. Like, she fucking flipped. They usually do. So, Justina admitted to the investigators that she lured Jason to the trails that day so he could be ambushed by Eddie and the Koya brothers. She provided a detailed account of what took place and how they disposed of the evidence afterwards and the partying that took place in the hours that followed. According to Justina, she wasn't dating Jason, but she used the fact that he liked her as a way to lure him to a secluded area so they could rob him. Cunt.
Horrible.
I don't care that you're 15, 16, whatever. You're an asshole. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
She also revealed that this was very much planned and that the four of them had brainstormed ways to rob and kill Jason prior to the incident. Originally, this is great. Originally, they were going to invite Jason to the Jersey Shore, and while they were there, they were going to force him to withdraw money and then kill him, but for whatever reason, they decided to not go through with this plan. Justina also revealed that there was already an attempt on his life the day before they murdered him. After not going through with the Jersey Shore idea, they planned on having Jason lie to his parents and tell them that he was sick so he could, stay home from work on that Thursday. And they said that they would, come over to his house and have a party, and then he could sleep with Justina. But when Thursday came, Jason, being the responsible kid that he is, he was like, fuck this shit. He didn't do any of that, and he went to work instead. So he was like, go fuck yourselves.
Responsible.
Yeah. So the four of them quickly threw together this last and final plan, which was to have Justina lure him to the trails with the promise of sex so they could rob and kill him. Eddie apparently knew that Friday was Jason's payday and that he more than likely would have several $100s on him. So I'm assuming the plan to kill him at his house was so that they could then probably rob the house after murdering him. But when that failed, I guess they figured his paycheck would suffice.
I guess so.
Because because if your original like whole plan was the day before he was even paid, obviously that's not a factor. But then when they were like, well, if we can't kill him at his house and rob him blind there, I guess we'll just take his paycheck. He'll definitely have a couple of $100 on him, right? That's got to be like that.
Like, yeah.
Right? Okay. See?
Seems the most likely.
Calculated.
Very.
Calculated.
That seems like, yeah.
So evil, but yet so calculating and like so lucid in those thought processes.
Yeah, you can't claim that you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Something so strategic.
So after Justina shared her version of events with the investigators and essentially incriminating all of them, police turned their attention to Eddie and informed him that Justina was basically ratting them all out. So Eddie decided to provide them with his version of what took place and confess to his role in Jason's death. When it came to the Coya brothers, Dominic admitted to his part in the murder, but Nicholas, for some reason, was only able to admit to hitting Jason with a rock before his dad stepped in and wouldn't let him say anything else. So, I don't know, I guess the dad was in with the one brother but not the other?
That's weird.
Unless it's a weird age thing because Dominic was 16. I mean, Dominic was 17. Nicholas was only 16 and Dominic was 17. So maybe...
But isn't that still...
I would think you're a minor. Yeah. So, but apparently that's what happened there. So he couldn't get... He probably would have talked more if the dad wasn't like, shut the fuck up. But I don't know. So with all four of them admitting to the parts they played, prosecutors knew that they needed at least one of them to flip on the group. That way the prosecution would have a better chance at convictions, when it came time to the trial and shit. So they figured that Justina would be the best of the worst in this case because even though she did lure him there, she never actually took part in the attack and the murder of Jason. So she also knew him, for the shortest amount of time. Remember, she had just met him about a week ago, whereas the others knew him since elementary school.
Yeah.
So they figured we could probably weasel this girl.
Yeah,
it'd
be easier.
I think also the fact that she was like the first one to crack shows that she's weak.
Yeah.
So obviously,
or she was like, I done fucked up.
Like, I think weak. So in their mind, or maybe smart because she got the best deal. So who knows in this situation. So in their minds, she was the prosecution's, best chance of making a deal in exchange for testimony against the other three. And that is exactly what happened. Justina pled guilty to third-degree murder in exchange for her testimony and was charged as an adult. She received 17 and a half to 35 years. Eddie, Nicholas, and Dominic were also charged as adults, only they were charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy, robbery, and possessing an instrument of crime. Originally, Dominic was the only one out of the three boys that was facing the death penalty because he was 17, whereas the court felt the other two, being only 16, they should be spared. So, however, after Roper versus Simmons happened, he would no longer be deemed eligible because he was under 18. So that obviously put the kibosh on that. So Dominic was actually just 2 weeks shy of his 18th birthday when this ruling went into effect, which is insane to think that 2 weeks later and he would have been on death row. Like, he could have been.
That's fucking crazy.
The timing of it. Like, he easily...
14 days.
Yeah. Spared him. Isn't that insane?
That's wild. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah. So now all three of the boys were facing mandatory life sentences, without the possibility of parole. Their attorney argued that Justina was the ringleader here and that she was the main instigator for the execution of this plan. They even presented letters to the court that were written from Justina to Dominic, in which she describes herself as manipulative and having a darker side that she relishes in. She also expressed no remorse for what had happened, but when she testified, she presented herself completely different. Again, they usually do. On the stand, she spoke about how guilty she felt and explained that she only said those things so Eddie and the Coya brothers would accept her, which I can't roll my eyes hard enough at that. I'm sorry, right? Like, come on, girl. So the boy's attorney was also pushing for the charge to be third degree instead of first because he was claiming that since they were drug addicts, they lacked the intent to kill that is required for a first degree conviction.
No.
What?
No.
To me, I had just, like, in my notes,
no.
Huh?
Unacceptable.
It doesn't even, what? What are you talking about?
No.
Right? What are you talking about?
No. No.
Thank you. No further discussion. So considering the confessions contradicted this argument in addition to one of Dominic's friends revealing that in the days leading up to the murder, all of them, again, including Justina, were bragging about how they were going to use her to lure Jason to his death. This argument was quickly dismissed, and in the end, all of them were convicted and would receive life sentences without the possibility of parole. And in Paul Sweeney's eyes, this was the appropriate verdict. He was quoted as saying, quote, "My son got justice today. That's all I cared about. The system worked today," end quote. So in 2013, Dominic wrote a memoir in which he changed his whole story and claimed he was innocent. Originally, Dominic had stated that all of them were sober at the time of the murder, but in his book, he denied ever being sober and claimed he was unaware of the plot to rob and kill Jason. He also provided context for the statements he made to cops as well as the ones he made during his trial. So Dominic claimed that when Eddie hit Jason, he panicked, and the only reason he decided to participate was out of fear that him and his brother would get into trouble. Right. Because murdering somebody.
Because that's...
You're not gonna get... Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
It solves all the problems.
Right. Mm-hmm. So he also claimed that Eddie and Nicholas wanted to kill Justina because they were worried she might testify against them. But thank God for him, because he prevented them from going through with it. Like, give that man an award.
Oh, wow. High fives. High fives all around.
What would we do without Dominic Coya in the world? like, are you fucking kidding? Like, why do you think people buy this shit? Like when you're thinking...
somewhere that will...
That's true. But it's like when you're thinking this stuff up, you're like, yeah, that sounds right. Like...
Yeah.
Like, in what world? Like, honestly. Okay. Sorry. So in his memoir, he did say he had remorse, and he did provide a formal apology to the Sweeney family, but this memoir was actually never published or anything. So whether the Sweeneys actually ever received this apology, I'm not aware of. As far as I know, it's unknown. And honestly, if I was them, I don't even know if I would want an apology. I feel like, take your apology, stuff your sorries in a sack, you know? Like, take your apology and shove it.
Yeah, it's not it's not a real apology.
No, fuck off. So as of today, Eddie Batswig Jr., Nicholas Coya, and Dominic Coya are all still serving still serving their time in Pennsylvania's state correctional institutions. But they are not serving their time together. When I looked them up, their records show Nicholas at State Correctional Institution at Mercer, Dominic is at Fayette, and Eddie is in Chester. And this is where they will remain until the unforeseeable future. Now, as for Justina, remember her sentence was for 17 and a half to 35 years, meaning in the year 2020, she became eligible for release, which she was granted in December of that year. She was placed on parole, which usually is like 5 years, but I have no clue what she received because I can't find any information on her release other than that she was in fact released on December 20th, 2020, and that she was placed on parole. As far as where she is living and what she is doing, that's a complete mystery. What I will say is homegirl did finally get some eyebrows, and if you know, you know. And if you don't, look up pics so you will know. And on that note, that, everyone, was the savage murder of 16-year-old Jason Sweeney. Just absolutely horrible. I couldn't even imagine. And now, since you don't understand the reference, do you want me to pull up a picture so you can understand the reference?
Kinda.
Because I realized I wanted to do this before. I wanted to get it ready before so you could see it, but then as I started, I was like, we already started. It's way too late. Let me just pull this up really quick. Again, people, if you haven't seen these, please go look them up because you can't escape this. Like, so that's her when she was arrested.
Yeah, she got no eyebrows.
That's her now, though. So she got eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What she do? Shape them shit?
I think they're just super light, but it's so unfortunate, right?
Yeah, it's like she's missing something.
Especially if you look at this
Like
picture,
eyebrows.
the black and white.
That's horrible. It looks like she's wearing a mask.
Yeah, it's I feel like that's
Because of
even
the contrast in the picture.
more frightening than anything. But yeah. So,
That's unfortunate.
yeah. But yeah, just absolutely terrible. He sounded like a great kid, and he sounded like he was going to do great things, and it's just very unfortunate that there are so many pieces of shit in this world, even at the ages of 15 and 16. So, you know what that means, everybody. It is time for our shithead of the week. Adam, who do you have for us?
This dude, I can't say that name. He's from...
Can you try? Let me
Tarian?
see. You got to do
Tarian.
better. You got to
It's
do
Tarian,
better.
yeah.
Tarian?
Yeah, that's what I'm going
Torian?
We're going to Indiana a few years back. This is another, I'm guessing, naked person, possibly diddling themselves.
I
don't
love
know.
my naked people.
Well, like, there's rabbit holes for, like, creepy shit, right? So, the cops get a call for, like, some suspicious activity in a car, and it's like somebody's possibly exposing themselves. So the cops show up, and they find somebody in a car. Pull them out, they find a bunch of weed, they find a gun, they find this dude. So they start talking to him, and it turns out that not only is he getting bagged for indecent exposure, but he gets to go back to Houston, where he has a murder warrant.
Ooh, that's not cool.
Should have stayed in the house and diddled yourself.
Oh. So they basically, I guess it did work out for them.
Yep.
What an idiot.
Somebody fucking was like, yo, this dude's like doing something naked in a car. Called the cops. Boom, murder warrant.
Did he live in the car?
It didn't seem like it.
Was he on drugs? Or drunk?
There was no information about him being fucked up or anything. They just found weed on him.
Interesting.
And they didn't even say it was like copious amounts or like a little
He
bit.
literally was just having like a one-man party in his car.
Yeah.
And
somebody called, apparently.
I wonder how long he was here. Like, I wonder... Now it makes me want to go and look up the murder, because I'm wondering if he fled, obviously... What was it, Houston?
Mm-hmm.
If he fled Houston and then, like, it's been like 10 years or something.
It wasn't that long.
Oh, I wonder then how long it was.
He was accused of killing like his girlfriend's father.
Whoa.
Yeah. She like wouldn't come out of the house, and then like the dad came to the door and he like fucking shot him or some shit.
What the
it's
fuck? And then fled the scene or the state.
Like, yeah.
You would think you would want to lay low for like the rest of your life.
Yo, people don't think like that though.
That's insane.
Think about it. People do shit, fucking film themselves, upload it to the internet, and then go, I can't believe I got caught.
Very true. People are stupid. It's kind of entertaining. I mean, and it works too, because it makes it so much easier to catch these idiots.
Yeah.
Wow. Whoa. Okay then. So on that note, thank you everybody for listening. And if you liked hanging out with us, let us know by following us on Spotify, Apple, Instagram, and or YouTube. If there is a case you would like us to cover, hit us up at uafrpod@gmail.com and let us know. And so we will be back next week with another episode. And until then, please don't be a douche.
And keep your pants on.
I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? Yes.
Nobody
Nobody wants to see that. See ya.